I go first. I take the ball. I want to receive.
All right, here we go. So let's get started with rapid fire then. Last time we did rapid fire, I asked you guys which team could go from last to first. This week, we are going to flip it and ask what NFL team will go from last, winning their division in 2024 and not making the playoffs in 2025. And then here are some of the teams: Chiefs, Ravens, Texans, Bills, 49ers, Cowboys, Lions, and Bucks.
Can't wait.
The Houston Texans.
Oh,
you thought I was gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys, but man, every time that we crown a team, or the media, or people in general, when they crown a team, that team ends up not performing as well the next season. So I kind of want to pump the brakes on the Houston Texans. One, and I know people are going to be like, well, he still has Bobby Skoranek. No, Slowick. Sorry. Thank you. But he lost Shane Day, his quarterback coach. We all know Shane Day does a really good job with quarterbacks. Gilbert, you and I have been around him for years. You're bringing in Stephon Diggs. You're bringing in Joe Mixon. You have new faces. You're not going to have a last place schedule the way you did last year. The schedule's going to get tougher. There's a lot more opponents. There's going to be adversity. There's going to be last year you took teams by surprise. This year, you're not going to come by a surprise. People are going to have film on you. How are you going to be able to change your game? How are you going to be able to adjust? I just don't know. As of right now, I mean, this is June 10th, but I'm going to go with the Houston Texans. I just don't know what to expect from them, and I'll say that the Houston Texans are my team to go from making the playoffs to possibly not making the playoffs. I'm going to get killed for that shit.
Nah, that's a good one, Fernando, and I'm glad you didn't take the easy way out, and I'm trying to avoid like the Buccaneers or the Cowboys. That seems like the most logical, but it's never that easy.
I don't know about the Buck. I think the Buccaneers will still be okay.
Yeah, I still like them, but maybe they'll get cursed because I like
the easy one would be the Cowboys, but it's not such a bad one because it would go along with what you wrote.
Yeah, so I could go with that. I don't think they're that bad. So you know what? I'm gonna give you one just because the division is tough.
I know,
and maybe some players get healthy.
I know.
And I'm trying to give it some more thought, but I'm gonna give you my team, and then I'll give you the points. But the Baltimore Ravens could definitely be that team. I don't feel confident, but you lose your defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald. So now is a new DC gonna work the same magic? A lot of your players got poached by the brother there, Jim Harbaugh. You have pretty much 3 new starters on the offensive line. They drafted some pieces, but they're young, inexperienced people, and I get that the Ravens have a good job or a good track record of developing alignment and having a good rushing attack. So the other thing is Derrick Henry still Derrick Henry. Like we're just expecting him to be that guy. New team, a little older, a lot of miles on the body there. He's a monster. He's a beast. But even if Derrick Henry is still that guy, do you have enough wide receivers? Every single year we talk about Lamar Jackson needing more help. I like Zay Flowers, who's kind of a knucklehead at the end of his rookie year. He got those dumb plays against the Chiefs there. But what about after that? I'm not going to believe. I saw Mark Andrews say, hey, Rashad Bateman, he's going to be that guy. No. Trope alert, the summertime, best shape of my life. No, we've seen Rashad Bateman. You're not that guy. So you lost Odell Beckham Jr. So you don't really have any. I like Isaiah Likely. I like Mark Andrews, but you don't have enough weapons. The offensive line is the concern. You lose Mike McDonald, and then let me go through the division. If Joe Burrow is healthy, they're going to be a contender and fighting all the time. If somehow they get some kind of quarterback play in Cleveland, that's a very good defense there with some good weapons there. I don't know if Jerry Jeudy's going to do something, but you still got Amari Cooper, you got David Njoku, and maybe Nick Chubb comes back healthy. And then the Steelers have a very good roster, but they need a quarterback. But I'm not going to count on Mike Tomlin, who just got an extension. He usually is good enough for 8 or 9 wins, regardless of the quarterback. So it's a tough division. You better be physical. You better be a bruising team. And the Ravens tend to do that. And I'm not even sure if they ever been last in the John Harbaugh. I got to look that up. So I should have thought about that before. But to give you an interesting answer, let me go with the Baltimore Ravens.
And to add to yours, they got poached. They lost a lot of players. to the to the Titans, to the Seahawks, to the Chargers.
Jets,
So yeah,
Chargers.
no, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I mean, both of you guys made some great points, and both of those teams are on my radar in terms of, as I start to look at the new 5 teams that are gonna make the playoffs, and then the 5 teams that are gonna be left out of the playoffs. The Texans and the Ravens are 2 of those teams, and I bet you if you ask a regular person who the defensive coordinator is, they're not gonna tell you who it is for the Ravens. It's Zach Orr, right? I mean, he's a guy who played. He's like 35 years old. He's a young guy. He's
Yeah,
getting
they
an
lost Anthony
opportunity.
Weaver too.
Yes, he
Yeah,
went to the
the
Dolphins.
Mhm.
Dolphins.
Yes, and then you had. I mean, that's part of the problem too. And what we saw we talked about this last season as well with the Eagles. They lost both of their coordinators, and I said it's gonna come into play eventually, and it did. And I think with the Ravens, I think I'm gonna get. This is why I'm giving you the point here, Gilbert, is because we don't know what we're gonna get from the Ravens, and not only that, but you also have a tough division. We've seen, and we'll get to another question, and that in this rapid fire, Lamar Jackson showed up 20 pounds lighter. I don't understand that as well. So, and we'll talk about who's more of a concern with 2 of the quarterbacks showing up, underweight. But
Gilbert, real quick, my bad.
no, go ahead.
Marcus May just signed with the Dolphins. They're kind of saying breaking news, huge addition. What do you think?
They need help. I don't know if it's huge news to me, but he's
Yeah.
still a quality player. And also it does help because I think they lost Xavier Howard, and then you also you still have Javon Holland, right, who's a good player, and you don't know how much you have in Jalen Ramsey. I think it's still a good player, but it does help. They don't have a lot of. If you look at the interior defensive line, that's gonna be the real problem because they lost Christian Wilkins.
Yeah, no, my bad, Vic. Go ahead.
No, you're good. All right, moving on here, and I just talked about it. Lamar Jackson and Tua showed up to OTAs down more than 15 pounds from last year's playing weight. Which team should be more concerned with their quarterback's weight drop, the Ravens or the Dolphins?
I kind of want to go with Lamar Jackson because he's already like on the slim side. Why are you losing more weight? Like, are you thinking you get faster that does better? No, that's not the issue. You're fast. Like, we need you to complete passes down the field. Like, I don't know what's going on there, but I'm gonna go with Tua because he has a lot more riding here. He might I got like Dan and Diego. I'm gonna get some points from you right here. I think the Dolphins should make Tua wait. Don't sign him to a contract. And it's gonna come out tomorrow at SI. I wrote about it, and I was trying to think about there's 5 quarterbacks who are making $50 million per year, and I wanted to justify all 5. There's 3 that just passed the eye test. That who cares what roster, what day it is, who's hurt, you're gonna always have a chance. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. And then who was the other one that I had? Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson. I think when he gets going, he's special. Obviously, doesn't win playoff games, but he could carry you with the rushing, with the throwing. That's 3. And then the ones that you could win with, to take a line from Ryan Poles, they're very good, but you need a good surrounding, a good coaching, good system. But when it comes to the playoffs, you could trust the guy. Jalen Hurts, Jared Goff. They've done the playoff stuff. They've gone to the Super Bowl. Tua has done neither. He's not the guy who just carry your team, and he's not a guy you can rely on in the postseason. So to lose weight, maybe he's trying something here to earn that contract and get the respect from the Dolphins here or from the football public. I don't know what he's doing because he's had the injury history too. Yeah, he played all 17 games last year, so you kind of want to cross that out. But every year is different. Maybe you still have some injury concerns. So for Tua, who's at it, the hip issue, concussions, why are you losing weight? When you're kind of the bulky quarterback, like he kind of has that body of Russell Wilson, a little like Kyler Murray. They're smaller, but you have more weight. You could withstand the hits there. So I don't know what Tua's doing. Maybe he's trying something different here. Maybe he's trying to prove to the Dolphins, hey, I'm in shape. Can you pay me here? But honestly, Mike McDaniel, Tua, they all have things to prove. Maybe wait it out. I know that's not the question here, but with Tua, I have concerns about him losing all that weight.
They called him a fat ass. His own teammates were calling him fat
really?
and all this stuff. Oh, you didn't? Jalen Waddle was like, I miss fat Tua. And then Tyreek Hill said that he saw him at the Pro Bowl, and he's like, what the hell is this? Like, what happened to him? So
is that gonna help? I don't know, man.
I just don't know how it can help, especially with all and their offensive line is bad. Like,
oh yeah,
How are you expecting that to help? And then when it comes to Lamar Jackson, Mimsy kind of made my point for me. Lamar Jackson runs more than Tua does, and he gets hit a lot more than Tua does. So I am gonna have to go with Lamar there. But like, what does he expect? That because he has a frick train now next to him, that he maybe has an extra offensive lineman on the field and he can be quick and dart through? That's not gonna happen, dude. Like, a lot of these guys are gonna and again, I think they need to come back and teams need to start doing what they used to do a couple of years ago when they started doing RPOs and all this stuff. I remember the quarterback is free game. I would push the crap out of him, and I thought he had the ball. I didn't know it was the running back or stuff like that. Teams are going to start doing that again, and they're going to start pushing these guys and doing all that. So I think Lamar is kind of because of how dangerous his game is and how dependent he is of his legs. I think that's a little bit more dangerous for him to be losing all that weight. I get you want to be lighter, but lighter doesn't always help, and especially when it comes to such a violent sport. So because of the way he plays the game, and again, I don't think Baltimore's offensive line is as good as it has been in years past, so that's going to be another concern as well. So I think both of these quarterbacks, I think it'll hurt them more than help them, but I would go more Lamar just because, dude, it's a 17-game season, and then obviously if you make the playoffs, that's a long season, especially with all the hits you're gonna take. I don't know if it was a smart move on his part.
Yeah, we're going to the judges here, and we're going to use Mimsy to give you the win here. And she's right, the Ravens, because he runs more than Tua and gets hit more, in my opinion. And she's right on. I mean, look, you're trying to take the next step with the Ravens, and with Tua, we know he's the last 2 offseason, last season it was what he was taking martial arts so he can learn how to slide.
Yeah, tumbling.
Right. And now this offseason he loses weight for what? To be more agile, be more quick. The one I just don't understand with Lamar Jackson, and part of the problem is that he's gotten hurt. He won the MVP last season because he stayed healthy, but the 2 years before that, he got hurt, and you need to bulk up, especially if you're a mobile quarterback. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm giving you guys the point.
Yeah, but one needs the speed and one doesn't. So Lamar needs it. Tua doesn't. What the hell are you doing? That's why.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but in terms of what this question, I just don't understand coming from Lamar. I mean, all right, guys, moving on here. The Chiefs made headlines when they announced Harrison Buckner wouldn't be used on kickoffs. Instead, are going to be using safety Justin Reed because he has a strong kicking leg and can be used as an extra tackler. Rams, on the other hand, will be using their kicker because they believe he will be able to accurately kick the ball between the 20-yard line and the goal line. What do you guys think is the right approach for the new kickoff rule?
Harrison Buckner, that asshole, saving somebody's life the other day. What a beautiful thing to see. This is America.
In Texas.
Huh?
Nothing.
Save somebody's life. He went to go get the female trainer to help with that guy's life.
Yeah, but she wasn't at home like Harrison would have wanted.
Shut up. What's it called? See, I'm probably not going to get the point for this because I still don't know what the right approach is just because we haven't seen this yet. So I saw it in the UF or in the XFL, and I remember I brought up that tweet from a couple of years ago where I said I think this is going to be implemented in the NFL 4 years later. There it is. So the way they did it, they just had their kicker out there. So, and I know, and Gilbert's, well, I don't want to give too much away, but Gilbert's kind of been on this, so I think he's going to be the expert when it comes to this. But I just don't know what to make of it because, again, the other day, Chris Rumph from the Chargers, not Chris Rumph, Tuli Pelotu, he was on special teams and they were practicing it, and he's like, man, I was going up and about to make my move when all of a sudden Darius Davis, their kick returner, was already zooming past me. And he's like, I don't know how this is all going to work. This is going to be really interesting. So that's why I don't know what approach is going to work. I really want to see if the Chiefs really do trot out what's the name's brother? Justin Reed. I want to see what it's going to look like with Justin Reed, but man, this new kickoff rule is going to be interesting. I think when the Chiefs start off the season against the Baltimore Ravens, so it's going to be interesting if the one that's going to be trotted out there is Justin Reed. But I honestly I can't give you an answer. I need to see it first to see what it's going to look like. So I don't know which approach honestly is the right one.
That's actually a good point for now because those are two excellent special teams
Exactly.
Ravens and the Chiefs. Well,
Yep.
obviously we know John Harbaugh's background, Harrison Butker versus Justin Tucker, and I think
Yeah.
Tucker was saying that he's gaining weight. Speaking about losing or gaining weight,
he knows he's gonna face,
like get in there, get a little dirty, get some hits there, but I get trying to protect your kicker.
Having Justin Reed there, sorry, real quick, it kind of is an advantage because you can have another guy there that can tackle, that can go up, and so yeah, man, this is really
here's where I kind of call
BS
here, and and I told Victor this on House of Horns when the few times I wasn't freezing, that like why are you gonna give away your creativity right now? Why are you gonna give away your game plan? Like, yeah, it's like wait. I think all the creativity and all the new things that people are talking about and suggesting, they're talking right now to see, okay, maybe I'll get in your mind, Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
John Harbaugh, you're gonna play us week 1. We're not gonna use Harrison Butker. Like, until I see it, then I'll believe it. But I think all the tricks will come like in November, December, when you forget about it. We're all gonna be paying attention in the first week. Okay, who's gonna do what? And I know the special teams coordinator for the Cowboys, Fossil, said, I think it's gonna be the same thing. I don't know why people are all like up in arms about it. So I think for the first few months it's gonna be like that. So, but here's my pick here. I think what the Rams said about using their kicker is gonna be, I think, the smarter approach early on, because the loophole here is like, if you kick it through the air in the end zone, you're gonna spot the ball at the 40. You don't want to do that. And then it's like, crap, it's either go on the 40 or kick the ball to a Tyreek Hill, and all they need is one missed tackle, one cut, and they're to the house. Like, it's gonna be tricky. So the loophole is having an accurate kicker who could do a little bit different things. That bounce into the end zone, kick it away from the dangerous playmaker, and get lucky, get a bounce into the end zone. I think that's where it starts, at the 25 or 30. I forget. It's not the 40-yard line. So kickers that can kind of pinpoint where to put the ball and place it, that matters. I don't know if Justin Reed has that. So I think with the kicker and just kind of doing a little more, but also like these kickers don't train for that. Some of them maybe do. Maybe they kind of forgot about it because the old rules say just kick it in the back of the end zone, you're fine. But that's all going to be a factor, and I think I'd rather go with a kicker to practice that that bounce into the end zone.
By the way, Fossil was the Fossil, whatever. Yeah, he was the. I thought he was the star of Hard Knocks in 2017 when the Rams. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. He was.
The Rams were really missing, or they still are, I think.
Yeah. He was good. He was good that season. I thought he was one of the stars. I know they focus on the players, but because there was one player, I can't remember his name. He was like, I don't think mermaids are real, or I think mermaids are real. And I'm like, holy crap, that's where we're going with this. So,
well, you have the Jared Goff thing about the sun. That was. Yeah. No, but I'm giving the point here to Gilbert, and you're right, Gilbert. I think precision from a kicker is going to be big, because one of the things I've talked about here, and and I'm excited for this, because we're now gonna, and the NFL is doing a good job of incorporating this, because they want to take have you be watching TV the whole time. They don't want you to go, hey, the kickoff's coming up, like, let's go get a beer or let's go pee here. They want to
take my break at the press box, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. That's the reason they're doing this. And I told you, Gilbert, on House of Horns, like, I think if you're one of these teams, you want to use a running back, because you can juke guys, and some of the defenders, because they're not allowed to start towards you until the returner catches the ball. And so this is where the precision from a kicker is going to come into play. So I'm giving you here the point just because of that. I mean, having Justin Reed is cool, but I think they're just trying to protect them with all the stuff that's going on with. But honestly, like you said too, why are you giving out your secrets, right now? You kind of want to see it, and we won't see it in preseason either, because I think when we're going to see it is during scrimmages and during camp, and I think that's part of the thing too. So I just thought this was an interesting thing just to hear both sides, and I thought it was a good thing to see it as well. But point of view here, up to 1 here, Gilbert. So here we go. Which quarterback competition will have the bigger impact this season? The Steelers with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, or the Raiders with Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew?
This was kind of a trick question because I feel for sure. I think Russell Wilson's locked in to QB1. I don't agree with it. I'll tell you right now why not. And I'm starting to buy the smoke for Aiden O'Connell with the Raiders. So is it going to be a true competition? But I'll give you an answer here. I think Minshew has a better chance of competing with O'Connell than Justin Fields has with Russell Wilson. So you said which one's going to have more impact, right? Not which one's not going to be.
Like it's more of like let's say
more of a
one of
competition.
the guys wins the whether it's Wilson or O'Connell. Which one of those guys, whatever guy you're going with, is going to have the bigger impact for their team?
Yeah. I'm going to stay away from the Steelers. I don't know what the hell they're doing. I'm giving the job to Russell Wilson. Big mistake, and I guess at least to me. There's a little more of a competition with the Raiders, and I think if Minshew wins it, I'm giving the Raiders more of a chance of doing something in the playoffs, or not the playoffs, the regular season. I'm not the biggest Aiden O'Connell fan. I've already gotten bashed for this. I think he's if I'm doing the backup QB rankings again, he'll be up there, one of the best backup QB. That's who he is. He's a backup quarterback. I don't think maybe he could be an efficient guy. And that's the same thing with Russell Wilson. Mike Tomlin is playing it safe because he was traumatized from Kenny Pickett. I need somebody who's experienced, somebody efficient. Just run my offense and give us a chance. That's Aiden O'Connell. Minshew gives you a fighting chance when you're a little behind. Push the ball down the field. Like if you're Devontae Adams, you want Minshew to give you the ball. We saw what he did with the Colts here with Michael Pittman and getting, a first down away for the playoffs. So I like Minshew. I like the roller coaster. Yeah, maybe I'm a little harsh on O'Connell. Maybe there's a second season jump here that I'm missing. But I think if they go Aiden O'Connell, it could be a rough season for the Raiders. If Minshew wins, you might not make noise in the playoffs, but I think you have a better chance of making the wild card with Minshew. That's just my opinion. Don't torch me, but that's what I think.
I think the Steelers one is going to dictate more of what they can do because I think the weapons that the Raiders possess help whichever quarterback is there. And I think when it comes to the Steelers, I think which quarterback you choose to go with is going to be the one that determines how your season is going to go. So I said before, when Russell Wilson signed with the Steelers, I said he could be the first quarterback to give Mike Tomlin a losing season. He won't get him fired now because he just signed a 3-year extension with the Steelers. But I think regardless of the way that they go, that's going to dictate how their season goes, regardless of the quarterback. Last year, I thought Russell Wilson had some good moments, and everybody's like, oh, look at his stats. Yeah, but there was clutch situations where he just didn't have it anymore. And I remember the Houston Texans game. They should have beaten Houston late in the season, and he threw a pick. He just threw one of those like, oh, here, let's just throw it up. And it got picked off. So I'm going to go Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Whatever happens with either one of those guys, I think that's going to dictate how the Steelers season goes, especially because we all know since Big Ben has left, even when Big Ben was there, the defense has been good. It's been the offense that's kind of been the hit and miss, and you kind of something's got to give. And like Gilbert said, the ghost of Kenny Pickett is probably still there. Now he's with the Eagles, obviously. But I definitely think that it's going to be the Steelers, and I think they're going to go with Russell Wilson because of the veteran experience. But I totally could see halfway through the year, if he's just crapping himself where he's at, I think they'll go Justin Fields and see what Justin has. But Gilbert, are you kind of buying that they have play designs for Justin Fields, or do you think the starter is the starter regardless?
I think they might have a few plays, but I am thinking Russell Wilson's locked in for QB1. But maybe try to use him like Taysom Hill. They're talking about using him on special teams. That tells you right there he has no chance of winning that job when you're trying to play on special teams. Jesus. But I'll kind of counter, Fernando. Are you saying that you think Fields and Minshew give their teams a better chances of winning?
I think Minshew does. Fields, his turnovers and his decision making, sometimes I'm kind of like, what are you doing? But then Russell also, and here it's like experience or youth, and I might go with the youth.
I'd rather go with the upside.
Yeah, I think the youth. You don't know yet what Justin Fields could be. The only thing is Arthur Smith really worries me, just because of what we saw from him in Atlanta. So I guess it's kind of like there's a lot of negative ups and negatives, but I would go with Justin. I think Justin Fields and Gardner Minshew both give their teams a better chance of winning. And obviously Pittsburgh spent a lot of capital on their offensive line, so we'll see if that materializes. But I'm going to say that the Steelers are the way to go when it comes to this question.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you the point here, Fernando, because, when you look at both of these teams, they're both really good on defense. And you're just, then you go over to the offense, and then you're looking at the offensive coordinators for both of these teams. You have Arthur Smith and Luke Getsy. You don't know what you're getting out of Luke Getsy. I certainly don't. As someone who following the Raiders, I mean, I don't know, what he did. I am interested to see how he runs that 12 personnel and how they use Brock Bowers. That'll be something to keep an eye on. But when you're looking at the Steelers, all you need Russell Wilson to do is just be a game manager. And that's the reason why I think they're going to name him the starting quarterback, is because they just want him to game manage this team, because they know they have a really good defense and they're going to win games in November, December by not turning the ball over. And they just, especially with the Arthur Smith, he likes big personnel out there. So they're going to run the ball. And if you look at the end of last season with the Steelers, the reason they got in the playoffs was because they started running the ball. You finally saw Najee Harris take that step. And I think that's the reason why Russell Wilson is the guy for them right now. Now, do I think it's going to work out? I don't, but they're not asking him to do much. It's pretty much telling you that they just want him to be a game manager. And so whether you think he's washed up or not, that's a question for another day. But
one more point. When you play a 2-save and you're not playing to win and beat some of these good teams, that's going to burn you. And I've seen the Steelers back end of the schedule. The last 8 games is freaking brutal. Might be the toughest second half schedule of the season, and you're not going to win playing a safe with Russell Wilson and getting 20 points.
And I agree with you, but that's just the way, not everybody has a Patrick Mahomes. And so you're having to rely on your defense. And that's the way, I mean, everybody is going to find a way to win their Super Bowl. And for them, this is the way they're doing it. The Raiders are doing it this way. The Steelers are doing it. If you don't have a blue chip guy, your blue chip guy, it's hard. So you have to find other ways to win. And I think that's the way, whether we agree or not, that's the way they're deciding to go about it. So, I mean, that's just something to kind of think about. All right, Fernando. The Yankees and Dodgers faced each other this past weekend in the Bronx. What is the regular season equivalent or NFL matchup and site that can live up to that hype we saw in New York this weekend? So, think like Cowboys 49ers or, something like that where.
Oh, there you go. That one. Cowboys 49ers. They play in San Francisco. So I think, and the reason why is because the Cowboys and the 49ers, we all know they have a bunch of fans all over the world. Wherever, if you go down to Mexico, you see either one of those jerseys or a silver and black. But those are the 3 main jerseys, and the Steelers, I guess, would make the magical 4. But I can't remember when the 49ers play the Dallas Cowboys, but I think that's definitely a game that everybody obviously wants to see. Everybody, I mean, last year was a blow. The last few years has kind of been a bad one, but it is on October 27th. It is 5:20, and it is Cowboys at 49ers. So that one, you're going to see fights. You're going to see opposing fans. You're going to see everything. So I'm going to go with the 49ers and the Cowboys because of how big those franchises are and how many rings they've won. And obviously neither franchise has won crap in the last 30 years, or 25 years. So I'm going to go with them. They have the loudest fan base, excluding the Raiders. They have the loudest fan bases. So there's definitely a lot of animosity between both sides.
You're saying this is the game that's going to take place this season, or can I just make something up? I'm not even sure if they actually play each other.
Yeah, so it would be this season. So, for me, the one I would be looking for, where I'm looking forward to, is like Lambeau Field, like Packers Lions. For me, would be a game that I think could live up to the hype. And it's the only game that Jared Goff is playing outdoor, by the way, which is crazy to me. Well, he's got the Packers one and he's got the Bears one. Those are the only 2 outdoor games he's going to have this season.
I don't know the Chiefs. Are they going to play the Chiefs?
The Chiefs, and you have the Chiefs and Bills at Orchard Park.
See, I'll just do it because I like the rivalry, Chiefs and Bills, because the Bills can't beat the Chiefs, and eventually you got to break through, right? I just don't see a lot of Chiefs fans going to Buffalo. I wish it was the other way around, like Bills fans going to Kansas City. But I'll make a point here, like it'd be the kind of funny if like Bills Mafia, all these the great fan base that never gets invaded, and maybe Chiefs fans take it to me. You keep losing to Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce in the playoffs. You bring Taylor Swift to Buffalo, which happened in the playoffs last year.
He will be there.
So keep doing it. Keep messing with them. That way we can have Adam Hill troll Bills fans when the Chiefs beat the Buffalo Bills in Orchard Park. There,
he has a concert in Toronto the night before.
Oh, yeah. You know that. Okay, you're making my points. There you go. Perfect. The Chiefs fans will be there. The Swifties will be there. Go invade the tables and make life miserable for the Bills.
Yeah, I'm surprised none of you guys win with Chiefs and Raiders, especially on Black Friday. But I'm giving you the point here, Gilbert.
I don't want to go divisional. We see that too much.
Yeah, I know that is true too. I mean, it's two teams that you hardly see each other, kind of like with the Dodgers and the Yankees. We've seen
that's where I was going off.
Niners and Cowboys. I was trying to see what kind of something that would be similar, but I'm with you. Like Chiefs and Bills has turned into that, even though I mean, during the regular season, in the playoffs, we know the Chiefs pretty much have handled the Bills, but in the regular season, they've been switching up wins. So
honestly, it would have to be somewhere touristy where fans don't get to go to a lot. Like obviously, Dodger fans going to New York. It would be like some team that never plays New Orleans and just trying to go into Mardi Gras, something like that.